recall the process of reducing a fraction to its simplest form. What we can do is to factor 6 as 2 times 3 and then factors 4 as 2 times 2. And we can divide both top and bottom by 2 and to cancel this common factor 2. So we can get 3 over 2. And one important thing we need to keep in mind is whenever we cross something out from the top and the bottom, we call it a common factor. And factor means it has to be multiplication between the numbers. And so we cannot use addition or subtraction. So for example, I can write 6 as 2 plus 4 and 4 as 2 plus 2. But we cannot cancel this 2 and that 2 because it's plus. So the only time we can cross out a number, it has to be multiplication between them. So we can only cross out a common factor, but not a common term. So if we are able to cross out 2 and a 2, we will get a 4 over 2, which it gives us a 2. That's definitely incorrect. And because we know that 6 is not really twice of 4. So this is incorrect. So similarly, when we have these questions, notice that all of them have plus, minus, minus, plus, minus. So there are a lot of terms involved, and we won't be able to just cross out this 5 and 10, although it is multiplication between them, but there are plus, minus. So not 5. 5 is only a factor of 5x cubed. It's not a factor of the whole top. So whenever we cross out something out, for example, we were able to cross out a 2 because this 2 is a common factor of the entire top and the entire bottom. So there's no plus or minus behind it. So we cannot cross out this 5 and a 10 out to reduce this 5 and 10 to get a 2 here, or x cubed, x squared, like we did it before. But if I change this plus, this minus to times and times, change all of them to times, it's all multiplications, all of them are factors, we will be able to cross out a 5 and a 10 and x cubed and x squared. But unfortunately, it doesn't work here because we have a lot of plus or minuses. All right, so the correct way we need to do is to change to factor. So similar to this example, we have to factor the top to get something times something, and then see if we can find any common factor. So all the questions here we're going to do are also going to be applying factoring. So look, first we factor the top. So we can see there's a GCF. So following those steps we talked about before, the first thing we always want to check if there's GCF. And notice that 5, 6, 8, there's no GCF except 1. X cubed, x squared, and x, there's a common factor x. So we factor out x. We get a 5x squared plus 6x minus 8. And in the denominator, 10, 3, and 4, no GCF except 1. But we, also x squared, x, there's no x, so there's no common factor x. But we notice that we have all the 3 terms have a y in common, so we can factor out a y. That gives us 10x squared minus 3x minus 4. So we divide each of them by y. And when we get here, notice x is a factor. We can call x a factor of the top because it's x times something. And similarly, y is a factor of the bottom because it's y times something. But there's nothing in common from the top and the bottom. But notice in the parentheses, we still have a trinomial and trinomial. We may be able to factor this further. And the top trinomial, we can use trinomial, the method. I can draw a 2 by 2 box here. Break down 5x squared. It's 1 times 5, x times x. Negative 8 can be factored as negative 4 times positive 2. And let's see if it works. 20, it doesn't work, so let me switch 2 and 4. So I get positive 10, x. And the other diagonal is negative 4x, and combining them, we can get 6x. So that tells me this is the correct factoring. So we have x plus 2. That 1 can be omitted there. So 5x minus 4. Now, similarly, we are going to keep the first factor y and try to factor the other trinomial. Okay, so we have 10, we can factor it as 2 times 5, see if it works. And negative 4, we can try negative 1 and positive 4. And we're going to get opposite, so let me switch then to get a negative 8x, this diagonal product. The other diagonal product, we can get a positive 5, and when we combine them, that gives us negative 3x to match the one in the middle. So the factors are going to be 2x plus 1 times 5x minus 4. Now look at the top, we have 3 factors, x plus 2, in the parentheses, it's a factor because it's multiplication all across, and times 5x minus 4. So there are 3 factors on the top, and there are also 3 factors on the bottom. And we can see 5x minus 4 and 5x minus 4 is a common factor, which can be cancelled, crossed out by division. So now we are left with x on the top and x times x plus 2 on the top. And so this is what's going to be left. We can now multiply them out to get top times top to get x squared plus 2x by distribution. And the bottom, because we already factored everything out and we canceled all the common factors we can find. That's the only one. For the rest of it, we will just multiply them straight across. So this is the final answer. This is the simplest form. All right. Notice that when we cross this out, this common factor out, it's not like crossing out 5 and 5, x and x, negative 4 and negative 4. We're not doing that way because whenever we cross anything out, it has to be a factor. 5 is only a factor of 5x. 5 is not a factor of the entire top. But 5x minus 4, this whole factor, this whole thing is a factor because it's multiplication and multiplication. So we are crossing out 5x minus 4 as a whole factor, not each of the numbers there.